possible tomorrow. Windy and cooler, high 54. That's your weather update from the Storm Center at Kettleland TV. I'm meteorologist Brian Karstens.
Kello stands for news. Always has, always will. Kello.
I am running like crazy. You're trying to get ready. And away we go. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show.
I love the Greg Belfrage Show. I've been listening to you for years, Greg. Thanks for all you do and keeping us informed. You sound a little taller.
I forgot my headphones downstairs, and that's just going to drive me nuts.
No prescription required.
Americans love a winner and will not tolerate.
These are terrible.
Americans play to win all the time. I don't believe in the no-win scenario.
This is the Greg Belfrage Show.
Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. Hope you're doing well this morning. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show this Tuesday morning, October 29th. All right, the Donald Trump's rally at the Madison Square Garden is still producing all kinds of headlines. The left is melting down. They are absolutely, Democrats, the left, absolutely melting down over what happened at the Madison Square Garden rally. So, and it was a guest actually at the event. And here's the Hill. They got a piece at the Hill this morning. Trump's rally remarks sparked GOP concern. They make it sound as if these were remarks that Donald Trump made. Donald Trump didn't make those remarks. He was a comedian who had made the comment that is, and I understand why some people are upset by this. There's a lot of reaction to this. We're close to an election. Emotions are running really high. I just really think we've all just kind of got, whoa, let's lighten up. Let's all lighten up. Because the left is they are absolutely having a fit. And I think what you see some Republicans doing, in responding to this, again, I understand the guy. I didn't think the joke was that funny. I mean, I heard it, I watched it, and several times, and I've gone back and I'm like, yeah, that's still not funny. I didn't find it funny. A lot of other people found it not only not funny, but very offensive to some people, the comments that he made about Puerto Rico in particular. His name is Tony Hinchcliffe, and he was one of the guests there. And the Trump campaign yesterday said it was a comedian who made a joke in poor taste. Obviously, that joke does not reflect the views of President Trump or our campaign. And I think it is sad. And this Carolyn Levitt, and she touches on a great point here. I want you to catch this. She says, I think it's sad that the media will pick up on one joke that was made by a comedian rather than the truths that were shared by the phenomenal list of speakers that we had. Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. Absolutely phenomenal, the list of people that they had. And then I'm just looking ahead in this story, then the reaction from Democrats, and we'll get into this. We had Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York then watching this and trying to make like, they're on Twitch and we're playing video games. And it's like, what in the fresh hell is that? Does anybody believe that? Do you buy that? And they're responding then to Heathcliff's jokes. And a lot of other people are responding to it as well. Again, I want to skip over Kamala Harris campaign, and because the reaction from the left is just over the top, and we'll be talking about Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, things that they have said. because now Barack Obama is heating it up again since the Madison Square Garden rally. And you wonder if they're just scared to death, don't you? I mean, I just have to wonder if they are just absolutely scared to death. They see Madison Square Garden packed with 20,000 people. They see tens of thousands of people were waiting outside that could fill another Madison Square Garden to see Trump. When have you ever seen anybody respond to the Democrats in that way? It just doesn't happen. They have got to be absolutely mortified. And I think the more scared they get, the more hysterical and shrill, and it's right before the election, and it's now that's going to work for some. That appeals to some. For the life of me, I can't explain it. But the this is forgive me, I think it was Representative Carlos Curbelo of Florida. And he reacted to it. Curbelo said, "This is just a big punch in the gut for Republicans who have sincerely and over a period of time been working to grow strong relationships and roots in Puerto Rican communities, particularly here in the state of Florida," he said. And he said what tends to happen is that there's a lot of times a sense of solidarity among Hispanic communities. We certainly see that, which makes sense. He said, we certainly see that here in South Florida with Cuban Americans, Venezuelan Americans, Nicaraguan Americans. He said, now Curbelo is Cuban. And he said, so some non-Puerto Rican Hispanics could also feel offended by this. And there are a number of other Republicans who are who are, now again, a number of these are elected officials, so I don't know that they would react in the way that many of us do. But one Republican strategist dismissed worries that the comments could reflect on Trump. See, and he said Latino voters, black voters, white voters, whomever, millions of Americans are choosing Donald Trump, not because they love all of his rhetoric or his friends, it's because they support his policies. And he said that of Democrats, they're playing identity politics that so offends minority voters these days. They're Americans. They're not Black Americans or Latino Americans. They're Americans. They want a strong economy. They want to buy a home. They want to send their children to college. And they want what every other American wants. And this identity politics approach is simply not working anymore. So you've also got the comedian Tony Hinchcliffe, who is responding to this. And he said in a post to X yesterday, he said, these people have no sense of humor. And he was talking about the video with Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez criticizing him. And he makes a great point. Hinchcliffe does. He says, wild that a vice presidential candidate would take time out of his busy schedule to analyze a joke taken out of context to make it seem racist, he said. And he said he also told jokes about Jews and black people, but it was the Puerto Rican joke. And he said that's the one that it got the strongest. And again, Democrats, super upset by this. Okay, you and I might agree. First of all, the joke wasn't funny. It was not the right place for or right time. It just didn't make me laugh. I didn't think it was funny. but the Ocasio-Cortez saying it was super upsetting. What? Now, again, I hear that and I'm like, what is not super upsetting to the left these days? Is there anything that is not super upsetting coming from Republicans or conservatives? Is there anything that's not super upsetting? It's just, again, it's this over-the-top reaction, and that's what's going on. So there are a number of pieces that are trying to put the this in context. And I think FoxNews.com has done a pretty remarkable job. There's a piece of Brian Flood at Fox News, talking about the whole comparisons to the Donald Trump Madison Square Garden rally and the Nazi rallies that took place in 1939 at the same venue, and the people who were there are just saying, folks who were there, and you got people in large numbers who are angry about this. The number of Jewish people who attended this, saying this was not a Nazi rally. Joe Concha, who's a contributor at Fox News, said, I was covering that rally. There was zero hate in the building. It was, for lack of a better word, joyful, he said. So Deborah Lee went viral. Is it Lee or Leah? Might be. I'm not sure. Forgive if I'm mispronouncing her last name. But she said, I'm a Jewish New York Republican, and I've seen the mainstream media calling this a Nazi rally, and they couldn't be further from the truth. There were so many Jews here, just like myself. There were Israeli flags, and nearly every single speaker talked about their commitment to upholding the relationship between U.S. and Israel. She said, not to mention all the Latino for Trump, gays for Trump, and nearly every other group that would have never been allowed if this were an actual Nazi rally. Kamala Harris could literally bring Adolf Hitler on her stage, and the mainstream media still wouldn't call it a Nazi rally. Their lies are futile, she said. And she's one of a number of people. I mean, there are others who are responding to this and saying it's just one retired New York police inspector called the whole thing ridiculous. He said, let me tell you, for a Nazi rally, there were an awful lot of Israeli flags in that building. He told Fox. So and then, think about all of the, musicians and artists who have performed at Madison Square Garden, that whole thing. There's another piece at foxnews.com this morning by Lee Carter saying, I attended the Trump rally at Madison Square Garden on Sunday night, and let me tell you, what I saw with my own eyes and heard with my own ears was nothing like what you've read in the mainstream media, not even close. So let's go to some of the mainstream media reports, and the comments by Barack Obama. He said yesterday, the warm-up speakers were trotting out and peddling the most racist, sexist, bigoted stereotypes. One guy called Puerto Rico an island of garbage. These are fellow citizens he's talking about. Here in Philadelphia, they are your neighbors. They are your friends. They are your coworkers. Their kids go to school with your kids. This is the reason why this election should not be close. We have to reject the kind of politics of division and hatred that we saw represented. What? Again, what in the What is he talking about? Here's a good rule. If somebody does not respect you, if somebody does not see you as fellow citizens with equal claims to opportunity, the pursuit of happiness, you should not vote for them, he said. So that's Barack Obama. Then we've got Michelle Obama, who's also out there criticizing Trump. She was giving a speech in Michigan, and she said, and Trump reacted to this. More on that. I get Trump's reaction and response here. I hope you'll forgive me if I'm a little angry that we are indifferent to his Trump, to his erratic behavior, his obvious mental decline. Oh, that is so rich. That is, these people just make me laugh. Seriously. I just bust a gut laughing at these people. Have you seen Joe Biden? You can't even understand. You can't even form the words at times. We want to talk about obvious mental decline? Oh, please. His history as a convicted felon, a known slumlord, a predator found liable for sexual abuse, all of this. While we pick apart Kamala's answers from interviews that he doesn't even have the courage to do, y'all, she said, I'm asking y'all from the core of my being to take our lives seriously, please. Please do not put our lives in the hands of politicians. Do not hand over our fate to the likes of Trump, she said. And she was talking about, and this piece hasn't got it, but she loses sleep at night. And I lay awake at night and I'm thinking, I thought, you have got to be kidding. Can you imagine that? Michelle Obama's awakened, lying in bed, awake at night, worried about Donald. Oh, that is just absolutely laughable. So Trump reacted to this in Atlanta last night. He said, you know who was nasty to me? Michelle Obama. Trump said, I always tried to be so nice and respectful. Oh, did she open up a little? Or he's saying, oh, did she open up a little bit of a box? She opened up a little bit of something. Yeah, she was nasty. Shouldn't be that way. That was a big mistake that she made. Trump said. So it's just crazy. I've got a lot of other news that we're going to get to this morning. The owner of the Washington Post, Jeff Bezos, breaking his silence over the newspaper. There's been, and their new endorsement editorial, their new endorsement policy, where they are not going to give an endorsement to any presidential candidate, not only this year, but moving forward. Also coming up this morning, there are some comments by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on X that are on the FDA, and he said their war on public health is about to end, so we'll dive into that. That's pretty incredible, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I want to share, he said, FDA's war on public health is about to end. This includes its aggressive suppression of psychedelics, peptides, stem cells, raw milk, hyperbaric therapies, chelating compounds, ivermectin, vitamins, clean food, sunshine, exercise, nutraceuticals, anything else that advances human health and can't be patented by pharma. If you work for the FDA and are part of this corrupt system, I have two messages for you. One, preserve your records, and two, pack your bags. So Donald Trump has been talking about RFK Jr. and turning him loose when it comes to health, public health. So that's interesting. More on that coming up this morning. And then also today, we're going to talk to Chris Larson. Remember, Chris Larson was on the program a number of weeks ago, and he formed a campaign pushing back against some of the ballot measures in South Dakota. In fact, he's the chair of Vote No. It's a Vote No campaign. And he's going to join us again this morning. He'll join us this morning just after 8 talking about this. And he and I have traded a couple of emails, and he said, you know, I'm learning new things since the last time I talked with you. And so he'll be on with me this morning coming up at 8 to talk about what he's learned and encouraging folks. Then now, again, we're talking about the ballot measures that that you and I are going to be voting on. There are several of those. There are 4 constitutional amendments. There's a referred law, and then 2 initiated measures that are going to be on the South Dakota ballot this year. And he would be urging you to vote no. So we'll visit with Chris again this morning. That'll be coming up just after 8 o'clock. So that's a look at the big stories this morning. Thanks for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show. I very much appreciate it. 627, cloudy skies, 53. This hour of our show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
These are 2 Callow News.
Man, do I hate those headphones. Wow. This is, I'm weird this way. You get used to wearing a particular set of headphones. And then, so when you put on another brand or they function completely differently, and it really throws me off. Does that make sense? I like to be comfortable when I'm in here, and I like because I'm trying to concentrate on what I'm sharing with you, and I don't want to be worried about my headphones or other extraneous crap.
Healthcare, EMS, and law enforcement. The new revenue RL21 generates will help lower taxes.
Okay.
And Referred Law 21 contains a landowner bill of rights with strong new protections to give future generations a say in how our land is used. That's why RL21 is supported by the South Dakota Chamber of Commerce and Industry, our farmers, landowners, and agriculture. Vote yes on Referred Law 21. Learn more at yesonrl21.com.
Good.
Paid for by Vote Yes for a strong South Dakota.
Robinhood is introducing forecast contracts so you can trade the presidential election.
Yeah, what do you think about this?
Financial derivatives contracts on who
The story is trending.
presidential election, Harris or Trump, and watch as contract prices react to real-time market sentiment. Each contract you own will pay $1 on January 8th, 2025, if that candidate is confirmed as the next U.S. president by Congress. Learn more about the presidential election contracts on Robinhood at robinhood.com/election. The risk of loss in trading commodities interest can be substantial. You should therefore carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you in light of your financial condition. Restrictions and eligibility.
I'm not a gambler.
Commodity interest trading is not appropriate.
But that story is actually trending.
Based on real-time market sentiment. This event contract is offered by Robinhood Derivatives, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Exchange and regulatory fees apply. Learn more at robinhood.com/election.
There are a lot of people trying to separate you and me from our money, I think.
Our high 74 with a southeast wind at 15 to 25. For tonight, low temperature 44. A few isolated showers will begin to pop up. And then scattered rain chances tomorrow. Windy and cooler, high temperature at 54. North winds.
And in Sioux Falls at 6:30, cloudy and 53 currently at Kello. Joe Bowman is in the Kello.com News Center. Coming up, a Minnesota man doing missionary work in Africa has been killed. Also, the Sioux Falls School District ramping up school safety. Joe will explain how they're doing that. So headlines coming up from the Kello.com News Center here in minutes. You're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show on Kello.
Fox News. I'm Chris Foster. Vice
President Kamala Harris holds a rally tonight in Washington, D.C., what she's calling her closing argument. In Ann Arbor, Michigan, she says former President Trump's idea of leadership is about who you beat down,
instead of what we all know. The true measure of our individual and collective strength is based on who we lift up.
Kamala is running a campaign of demonization and hate. She really does. She's a hater.
Trump in Atlanta, Georgia. The Republican National Committee appeals a Pennsylvania ruling that voters who cast mail-in ballots improperly can vote on Election Day instead. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court ruled officials must count provisional ballots by voters whose mail-in ballot was voided. The High Court ruling could result in thousands of votes not being counted in the battleground state. Fox's Tom Graham. Election Day is a week from today. America's listening to Fox News.
News brought to you by Sioux Falls Implant and Sedation Dentistry. They fix your teeth while you sleep.
Kello News Time, 6:31. I'm Joe Bowman in the Kello.com News Center. A Minnesota man doing missionary work in Africa has been killed. 44-year-old Bo Schroyer from Detroit Lakes was killed in Angola on Friday on what's being called an act of violence. Schroyer had moved his wife and 5 children to Angola 3 years ago to do mission work for the organization SIM USA. Bo's church in Minnesota has been in contact with Schroyer's wife, but many details are still unknown. The Sioux Falls School District is ramping up school safety with new screening tech. SFSD partnered with Wisconsin-based Single Softwater to put their visitor-aware software in 38 of the district's buildings. Visitors are screened to identify potential issues before they're able to gain full access to the schools. Visitor-aware uses ID scanning and facial recognition, then compares that information with government watch lists, sex offender databases, and restraining orders. Another diverging diamond interchange in Sioux Falls is finally complete. The diverging diamond, located at the intersection of I-29 and Benson Road, was built to help with traffic flow and make the area safer for pedestrians and bike riders. The first diverging diamond interchange in the city was opened this summer. No G for SD just received $25,000. That's how much Governor Noem's Political Action Committee donated to the group opposed to Amendment G and the legalization of abortion in South Dakota. Noem says no abortions were recorded in South Dakota last year, and at the same time, maternal mortality has dropped by 60%. A new restaurant in the Sioux Falls Steel District development is now open. Ironwood Steakhouse will start serving customers tonight. The Steel District just opened the Dahlia Kitchen and Bar and Big Sioux Burgers earlier this month. They're taking reservations on their website at ironwoodsf.com. And in sports tonight, the Minnesota Timberwolves host the Dallas Mavericks, and Augustana's volleyball team takes on number 11, Wayne State. From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
Mostly cloudy skies today. Our high temperature 74 with a southeast wind 15 to 25. For tonight, a chance of an isolated shower, low temperatures in the mid-40s, and then some scattered shower and thunderstorm activity possible tomorrow. Windy and cooler, high 54. That's your weather update from the Storm Center at Kettleland TV. I'm meteorologist Brian Karstens.
Unleashing the sharks in your think tank.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
Kello News Talk 1320 107.9 and Kello.com.
If you're using an iPhone 15 Pro, a 15 Pro Max, or any version of the iPhone 16, you can get Apple's first artificial intelligence right now at no charge. My advice, by all means get it, but go in expecting little and you won't be disappointed. I'm Kim Commando for T-Mobile. T-Mobile's advanced network now goes farther than ever before. Visit T-Mobile.com/55 today. To get Apple AI, you'll need to upgrade your iPhone's operating system to iOS 18. It's free, but there's a caveat. Once you upgrade, you have to get into your phone settings and request the AI to be turned on. And then you're placed on a wait list. How long? Who knows? But it should have been automatic. When you do get it, then what? It will summarize your notifications. It can proofread and even rewrite things. But who does that much in-depth writing on their phone? Now, don't get me wrong. As I said, it's very limited, and it's a slow start. But once upon a time, so is the iPhone. Get my newsletter at getkim.com. Hey friends, Kim here. You know, it seems the older you get, the savvier you become at saving money. I really hate to overspend on things, especially the necessities. But thanks to T-Mobile, I don't have to worry about overpaying for wireless service So I've got more time and money to spend on other things. At T-Mobile, customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for just $30 a month per line. That's a 45% savings versus Verizon and AT&T. Plus, Scam Shield Premium is included, which means fewer scam calls and more tools to help you optimize and organize your mobile life. Experience all this and more with T-Mobile, America's largest 5G network. Don't miss out. Get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for $30 a month per line at T-Mobile. Visit T-Mobile.com or your local store to make the switch and save.
With autopay using debit or bank account plus taxes and fees. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details. Capable device required for Scan Shield. Putting on Scan Block might block calls you want. Disable anytime.
The Kim Commando Show. Live Saturday mornings at 9. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is brought to you by Tires. Your Give You More tire and automotive sale. Financing programs available. 2 Sioux Falls locations to serve you.
Farmers and builders, listen up. Purple Wave Auction is shaking up equipment sales. We're the no-reserve online auction powerhouse where every bid could be a win. From combines to cranes, tractors to excavators, if it has wheels or tracks, we've got it at purplewave.com. Purple Wave is your ticket to upgrade your operation. Join our nationwide buying community today and see why no reserve means maximum opportunity.
Hi, I'm Dean Karski, and I'd be honored to continue working for you as your Minnehaha County Commissioner. Minnehaha County is vibrant and growing,
There.
and I am
Got the good headphones.
conservative on the county commission. Together, we will continue to prioritize law enforcement, public safety,
Yeah, there we go.
My commitment to serve runs deep. From 6 years in the United States Air Force, 36 years as a small business owner, and 8 years on the Minnehaha County Commission, where I am currently chair. For your vote on November 5th. Paid for by Karski.
Big transmission problem or minor repair. It takes an expert to know. Hi, this is Greg Belfrage for the experts at Jim's National Transmission, downtown at 4th and Weber. When having transmission problems, it's always best to go to a specialist. Most auto repair places will simply replace your transmission, costing you 50 to 70% more than if you went to a transmission specialist. Do yourself a favor and save yourself time and money by taking your vehicle to the pros at Jim's Transmission. They know all the ins and outs of automatic transmission diagnosis. Jim's Transmission, the transmission-only specialist, where transmissions are all they do. Check out their website at jimsautotrans.com for coupons and specials. You'll find their phone number there too, jimsautotrans.com. That's jimsautotrans.com. Jim's National Transmission, downtown at 4th and Weber.
Okay, some mornings you might not have that get up and go.
But at least you can get up and know.
The Greg Belfrage Show, with insightful opinions on the latest stories and frequent weather updates. It'll get you in the know while you're getting ready to go. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9. Entertaining talk and news when it happens.
6:39, cloudy and 53 currently at Kello. Good morning, my friend. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. It's really nice to have you along. This hour brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month. Wrong button.
What's trending now?
Add them on Facebook.
Let the tweeting begin.
You really got to concentrate on this job. All right. Okay, let's take a look at stories that are trending this morning. There are a number of Republicans then that are criticizing comedian Tony Hinchcliffe during Donald Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden. So Hinchcliffe told the crowd ahead of Trump's appearance on Sunday, he said, there's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Well, this has brought all kinds of reaction from folks. And Hinchcliffe said, yeah, I love Puerto Rico. I vacation there, he said. And he said he made fun of everybody during his set at the Trump rally. So Florida Congresswoman Salazar said, disgusted by Tony Hinchcliffe's racist comment, calling Puerto Rico, and she said this rhetoric does not reflect GOP values. Puerto Rico sent over 48,000 soldiers to Vietnam, more than 345 Purple Hearts awarded. This bravery deserves respect. Educate yourself. And then again, the Trump campaign said, the joke didn't reflect the views of Trump. They went a little bit further, saying that the media making much of this and not focusing on a lot of the great things that were being said at the rally. And Florida Senator Rick Scott said, this joke bombed for a reason. It's not funny and it's not true. Puerto Ricans are amazing people and amazing Americans. I've been to the island many times. It's a beautiful place. Everyone should visit. I will always do whatever I can to help any Puerto Rican in Florida or on the island. So there are a number of others who responded to that as well. Also, there's a piece from Axios that has been trending. And it's about the fact that Kamala Harris is keeping Joe Biden at arm's reach, not allowing, but Biden is, and I've been seeing this story for days. Biden is saying, we put me in, coach. Put me in. I want to go out there. I want to campaign for you. And Harris is just ignoring him. And Axios picked up on this. They said the Harris campaign keeps responding to the president. We'll get back to you, according to 3 people familiar with what's going on. So the Kamala Harris campaign does not want Joe Biden out there campaigning for him. By the way, he voted yesterday in Delaware. So he entered a voting booth in Delaware to cast his early ballot for Kamala Harris. And he said it was a moment of pride for him, he said. So he stood in line for 37 minutes with members of the community, which is where he's likely to go back, is Delaware. So he pushed an elderly lady in a wheelchair, talked on someone's phone, smiled for a photo with a baby, and he stood in line near a man who was wearing a red hat that said, elect that mother again. Oh, wow. So upon exiting the polling place, CNN asked if the moment was bittersweet. The president said no, just sweet. So I don't think he made many other comments during the time he voted. The owner of the Washington Post, Jeff Bezos, wants to add more conservative writers to the paper's opinion section in an effort to expand the newspaper's audience. Last week, the Washington Post sent those on the left into a tizzy when they announced they would not endorse a candidate. And Jeff Bezos is talking about that. And he says that'll be not just this election, that's moving forward, that they will not be endorsing candidates, that they want to create more. And we'll talk about this in more detail coming up. I'm a little bit concerned about the way he phrases it. He wants to create a the editorials create a a bias. So he wants to let's not, or the endorsements rather. Let's remove that endorsements and create the idea that somehow then what, the Washington Post is better because they no longer endorse these, the leftist candidates. I think it's the leftist ideas that come out of the Washington Post that are a lot more concerning to me. The way the news is colored or tainted, and I don't know that endorsements, at least you're being honest in those moments. You're out there and you're being honest about. It's interesting. We'll talk about that in more detail coming up this morning. Elon Musk is trending. The Philadelphia District Attorney's Office filed a lawsuit yesterday to stop Elon Musk's plan to award $1 million to registered voters in swing states. And the Philadelphia District Attorney, Larry Krasner, called the daily giveaway an illegal lottery, he said. And so they are taking action against Elon Musk. The lawsuit says America PAC and Musk must be stopped immediately before the upcoming presidential election. Now, Elon Musk has talked about this, and he says he insisted that the daily giveaway to those who sign his petition, it's not meant to induce voter registration, which is what prosecutors there are alleging. He's saying, to be clear, this is not a petition to vote or to register for anyone. It's really a petition in support of the Constitution of the United States, and in particular, freedom of speech and the right to bear arms, he said. So America PAC has been giving away $1 million a day since Saturday. Also, the Office of Georgia Secretary of State said that it fended off a cyber attack believed to have come from a foreign country trying to paralyze the state's voter website. So the cyber team was alerted to a dramatic spike in attempts to access the ballot portal. So it was slowed down, but it was not stopped. And it's a website where voters request absentee ballots. So the state's voting systems are not connected to the internet, were not affected. Other stories trending this morning. U.S. rapper Cardi B has canceled an upcoming festival performance. She's recovering from a medical emergency in hospital. So she was scheduled to headline One Music Fest in Atlanta coming up this weekend. And she said, I'm so sad to share this news, but I've been in the hospital recovering from a medical emergency the last couple of days, and I won't be able to perform, she said. I think she went on to, she said, it breaks my heart that I won't get to see my fans this weekend, and I really wish I could be there. Also, Jay Johnston, who is known for the, probably best known for his work on Bob's Burgers. Looks like he's going to spend just over a year behind bars for his involvement in the January 6th Capitol riot. So his lawyer told NBC News he was sentenced yesterday to 12 months and a day in federal prison. So he pled guilty back in July to one count of obstructing officers during a civil disorder. So he was facing up to 5 years in federal prison, but will spend 12 months and a day in federal prison. Also, bit of sports news that's been trending. Dodgers star Shohei Ohtani partially dislocated his left shoulder in Game 2 of the World Series, and he has been cleared to play in Game 3, or I should say was cleared to play in Game 3 last night. And the manager of the Dodgers said, you know, if he feels good enough to go, I should have looked for a new story here to see in terms of how it went, but he was cleared for play last night. Also, Robinhood announced yesterday it's tapping into the growing politics prediction market by allowing users to trade Kamala Harris or Donald Trump contracts on the 2024 presidential election. So this was allowed. You had to meet certain qualifications, being a U.S. citizen, they said in a news release. And the contracts will be priced between 2 cents and 99 cents, earning a $1 payout if the user guesses the winning candidate. You can purchase up to 5,000 election contracts, meaning Robinhood users could win up to a $5,000 payout then if you make the correct, if you choose and guess correctly. In other words, betting on the election. Also, the Nevada Supreme Court has ruled that election officials can count mail ballots with no postmark received as many as 3 days after Election Day. So no postmark. This was a decision yesterday. 5 of the High Court's 7 justices disagreed with the Republican National Committee's interpretation of the law that's at the center of the lawsuit. And this is, expect we're going to be talking a lot more about lawsuits. In the times that we live in, you think that one side or the other is just going to quietly go into that good night if the election does not go, you know, if they have legitimate concerns, or maybe even if not, a ballot drops box fire been under investigation in Oregon. In fact, federal authorities are investigating fires at 2 ballot boxes. These were reported yesterday morning in the Portland, Oregon area. And Fox News, I think I had heard that the same vehicle was spotted at both of these drop boxes. And so an investigation is underway. Also, a new round of lawsuits suing Sean Diddy Combs. Now he's being accused of sexually assaulting a 10-year-old boy, 10 and 17-year-old boys, according to these new lawsuits. And the New York City jail where Combs is being held was targeted with an interagency operation yesterday, according to prison officials. They said it was designed to achieve our shared goal of maintaining a safe environment for both our employees and the incarcerated, prisoners. Also, McDonald's. With the news that the McDonald's beef patties were not the source of the E. coli outbreak, it was the onions in some that were being used in some McDonald's. It was the onions that was the cause. So if you're a fan of the quarter pounder like I am, they'll be back on sale soon, in the coming week, according to news reports. So as to when exactly that's going to happen, but the quarter pounder will return to the McDonald's menu sometime within the week. Also, this is Tim Walz and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez doing a Madden stream on Twitch trying to appeal to young male voters. And they are just getting flamed on social media for this. It's it's not going over well, not being well received. And at one point, Walz told Ocasio-Cortez, "We're going to win this election. We're going to make you put a gavel in your hand in the House." In other words, you're going to make Ocasio-Cortez the Speaker of the House, is what he's saying. Which is rich. Also, Virginia asked the U.S. Supreme Court on Monday to step in and allow the state to carry out its removal of 1,600 names of non-citizens from its voting rolls. So lower courts have said you can't purge the names, violates a 1993 federal law that bars this within 90 days before a federal election. It's known as the quiet period. But the state's attorney general says that law applied to eligible voters, not to ineligible people, such as those who do not have citizenship, which is a great point. And that's a look at the stories trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. 6:57, cloudy and 53. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month. Well, thank you so much, my friend, for joining us for the video of the Greg Belfrage Show. Hope you'll be back at 9:30 for the fourth hour, 9:30 every day on YouTube and Facebook. So I hope to see you then. Have a great Tuesday.